Welcome to United by Trucks, where we're testing out the new family Wagoneer. Hi.
Hey.
What are we up to?
Oh, we're waiting on Chick-fil-A.
For what?
to have dinner on the road, to go look at a Wagoneer.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Gonna be your Wagoneer?
The family's.
Yeah. We are on our way south, about 2.5 hours south of Atlanta, to Perry, Georgia, to look at a vehicle that we have really been interested in for a long time. And this will technically be Sarah's vehicle, but I'm gonna put some cool touches on it. We're gonna make it awesome if we get this one, and pull a camper with it, and just generally have fun around town, that sort of thing. So we're headed down to check it out now. We'll try to show as much of it to you as we can. We're starting to run out of daylight and that sort of thing, but we just filled up on some Chick-fil-A, currently eating some ice cream. Billy's in the back eating ice cream. Is it good? All right. So yeah, we'll catch up with you in a minute. All right, guys, so we've got it out on a test drive, and I ain't mad about it.
Millie is living the best. Look at this, Sam, living my best life.
Are you living your best life?
Chilling in the front seat.
What do you think about it, Mama?
Well, I like it.
I really like it.
Me too.
So it's an 86 Jeep Wagoneer. It's definitely had some paint work. That is about a, 25-foot paint job. Sorry, I'm filming on my iPhone here. But it's got a Rusty's 4-inch lift. Everything else is pretty well stock. It runs like a sewing machine, even though it does have a small exhaust leak. But we really like it. So we're about to go back, see if we can get a deal done on it. It's got a 360 in it, automatic. Obviously this is the interior. All the gauges work except for the fuel gauge. Electric windows. Even though a rear window rolls down electrically. Could use a carpet kit, could use some door panel work, but it's just all original in here. Except for the radio, of course, which drives me nuts. But we're gonna go back, see if we can get a deal done on it. Y'all ready?
Ready.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay guys, you can see that we made the deal on the 86 Wagoneer. This thing is awesome. I drove it home last night in the dark, about 2.5 hours. This thing did 70 miles an hour with the AC on, no issues whatsoever. So we've got it home, and I'm gonna show you a little bit around it, just a little bit more. Y'all come on and go with us. So this is it, 86 Grand Wagoneer. This thing has had a repaint, like I was saying. It was originally navy blue with all the wood grain down the side, but the guy that we got it from has had it for a few years, and when he bought it, it was actually in primer. So body work isn't that great. Paint job is, just mediocre, but everything else is pretty much original aside from the Rusty's lift, which I'm really glad. I think that's like a big bonus for this Wagoneer. So you can see door panels need some attention. Seats need a little bit of attention, but everything works except for that fuel cylinder gauge. It's got nice back seat. The armrest is here in the floor for the other side. You can see the back. We need to replace the carpet here. We're probably going to replace the carpet throughout, have the seats reupholstered, but it's got the roof rack, which was a big bonus for me. Giant back window. And it's just really clean on the underside. I don't know that I can show you how clean it is under here, but probably gonna I've got a MagnaFlow muffler that I'm probably gonna have put in place, redo some of this exhaust. But really clean. Doesn't look like it's ever spent a whole lot of time off-road. And I love the paint scheme. So it's pretty well an original style paint scheme. Like I said, the paint job was, $2,500 paint job essentially. But I love the color, and I love how he basically put the graphic or put the paint scheme back on it like a non-wood grain Wagoneer would have. So it's got a 360 V8. Hold on just a second, I'll get the hood popped and show you that. I'm not even sure how to pop this hood. There we go. So you can see it's a lot jammed into one engine bay. So it's a 360 V8. I think it's got about 90,000 miles on it. AC works, good voltage, good oil pressure, power steering works. It's got new calipers and new brake lines on the front. So it does stop a little better, even though they're sort of sketchy from a brake perspective, but it's 6-lug. It does have disc brakes up front. And like I said, it's got the good Rusty's 4-inch lift with an extra shackle up front. So it's got a little bit more height than the front, which I like. It makes it just sit not so level, but that's what we're looking at. Look who just pulled up. Yeah, the door handle's a little difficult. So
Audrey had to open it at her.
you just, as long as it's unlocked, so as long as that's pulled up, you really just have to pull sky high on
I
it.
just feel like I'm gonna break it.
You're not. You're not.
Millie loves the horn best.
Are y'all having fun?
We did have fun. Getting out of their driveway was a treat.
bear, I bet.
Yeah.
Are you having fun in the Waggy?
We had fun. We talked about some names. We didn't come up with anything.
No names yet. Okay, well, we're getting there.
Baby.
We're getting there. Come on, boo. Say hi to the camera.
Hi.
Okay, this is our first full day with the Wagoneer, the Waggy. We don't have a name for it yet. And I've got to get some seat belts figured out in this thing because it actually doesn't have any seat belts in the rear. And it needs some attention up front too. Cool thing is the thing will just fire right up. As you heard a minute ago, my wife's feeling like she's gonna break the door handle on it, but that's not the case. So I'm actually running to get some pizza right now for the family. Everybody's coming over. So just want to kind of give you my first impressions of it thus far. Cool thing is, runs and drives well, goes into gear well. It's got a pretty rough set of tires on it that we're changing the wheels and tires anyway. Something a little cooler, but I really like it. I don't particularly like how the lift rides. I think that's probably a pretty normal thing with a leaf sprung suspension. The rattles aren't too bad. The brakes are pretty good. It's got new calipers, new brake hoses, freshly bled brakes, discs up front. However, for some reason it just doesn't stop real well. So we're gonna probably do something with a hydro boost setup or something like that. It's got an exhaust leak, a lot of little things, and I think that's one of the things that you learn when you own a Wagoneer. It's little things that'll get you, especially if you've got one that runs pretty decent. But some of the pros are AC. It has new suspension. It runs really well, other than the exhaust manifold leak. It's 90% complete, so the only thing on the inside that doesn't work, as I mentioned before, is this fuel gauge, which can get you in trouble. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna stop and get some gas here in just a second, just to make sure I don't run out on the way to get this pizza. So the guy told me when I bought it that it might actually have a leak in the fuel filler neck running from right here where you put the gas in into the tank. He said it drips under the truck sometimes. I actually haven't seen that yet. And I don't think it's dripping anywhere else. So anyway, check that out, address it as needed. One thing that is a con that I'm gonna be updating is putting 3-point harnesses in the rear section. So there's a guy online who's actually done it, and he uses the front 3-point harnesses to adapt them to the rear. And there's actually a slot to run the 3-point harnesses up in the back in the headliner. So I'll be pulling that rear headliner, checking that out, and actually ordered the seat belts today. So I'll be getting that all done. That's for safety with the kids, so that we can, you know, go on road trips and do whatever we want to do. I know I'm going to get the question, are we going to LS swap this thing? The answer is probably yes. Probably not going to do it anytime soon because this thing runs really well. I'm going to focus on the wheels and tires, focus on getting all the other small stuff done, and then decide when and if, but the answer is likely yes. We're going to LS swap this thing, get better gas mileage. This thing probably gets 10 miles a gallon with this 360. But we're going to LS swap it, and like I said, new wheels and tires, and ultimately I'm going to get rid of the leaf sprung suspension. I'm probably going to go 4-link and coilovers all the way around on this thing. I've got some friends who are heavy off into the Jeep stuff, and honestly I just want a little better ride quality. I want to be able to tow a little more. I know I can fix a lot of that with gearing and definitely with the LS, but these things came with a terrible tow rating of something like 5,000 pounds, which is not bad for pulling a small camper, which we'll be doing with this, but I just want more assurance and more tow capacity if I want. So I can say for the most part it doesn't have a lot of rust through. I've been under it. I've looked at all the drip rails all the way around it, which is where they're really prone to rust. It does not have rust there. I don't see any rust in the floorboards or in the wheel wells. There's some bubbles right here on this driver rocker. So I say all that to say I'm not really worried about modifying this thing because it's not all original. If I were gonna buy an original paint, completely put together, running and driving Wagoneer like this, we would be in the 20 grand range probably. These things are really driving up in value, different from where I am with C10s. I want the original paint. I don't care about the rust, that sort of thing. I looked at this a little bit differently. I wanted to get into the platform of having a Wagoneer, but I didn't really care too much about originality, or a repaint, I should say, on the outside. I definitely cared about originality on the inside, and barring the radio that was put in here, CD player that was put in here, everything is mostly original in here, and we'll dress up the interior back to original spec as we can. Hey, how you doing?
See, there's the drinks.
Thank you for putting that in a carrier.
Yeah. They told me you were in a vintage Jeep, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Right. Not a traditional Jeep, but a Wagoneer.
Awesome. I love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I actually just bought it yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
That's like having a new family member or something.
Yeah, it is. That's what my wife thinks anyway. Thanks. Have a good one. Against myself. I know I'm in the honeymoon phase, but I really dig this thing. So I want to throw another con in, and it's really about space. So while these things look giant on the outside, or at least they do to me, they are not a full-size SUV by any means. So yeah, you can fit 3 across here, and we've had my daughter, you know, obviously sitting right here on her little booster seat because we don't have any rear seat belts in the back seat. We're not going far, so don't worry about safety from a kid perspective. It's kind of tight in here, I must say. And when you're trying to reach like controls down for the door, or trying to reach your controls at the seat, because this has power seats, it's actually kind of difficult. I mean, you're all pretty jammed in. It's kind of tight around the door handle if you're trying to lock the door or roll down the windows. I really like the way the gauge cluster is all laid out in the dash, but your controls on the doors, controls on the seats, and really how much room you've got between you and the steering wheel is obviously not as bad as C10s, because that's what we know best, but it's actually much tighter than you think it would be. The room between the rear seat and the front seats is still kind of tight. It's nothing like modern vehicles, as you can imagine. I really wish I had just a little bit more room to move the seat back, but I've got it back as far as it'll go. I'm 6 foot, a little over 200 pounds. I fit comfortably, but like I said, it can be a little tight, especially if you have somebody riding right here in this little center section, which we won't have that very often.
It's sparkling.
It is sparkling.
Wow.
Hop up there.
I'm sneaky.
You're driving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, girl. First impression time.
I wish I could test out the horn now.
Well, lay on it, girl.
It's not.
Oh, it may not work until the
What's she for?
toasty in there.
I'm a little toasty from just. I should have.
Now can I honk the horn?
Waited to close the door.
Now, home.
You moved this
Hey,
a little
hon.
bit.
What's up?
Nothing.
Okay.
We're testing out the new family Wagoneer. We just had dinner with the family at the house, and we figured we would get out and ride, well, while we had a little daylight, and give some first impressions as the sun just totally
I was about to say I
blinds
can't
us.
see.
Wow.
And I don't have my sunglasses, of course.
Of course you don't. I've told you guys what my first impressions were, but now that Sarah and Millie and I are all together, I wanted to see what you thought, Sarah. You've driven this thing with me, without me, now with me again. What are you thinking about it?
For one, I love it. It's very different than a modern car. Well, this is modern, but
it's still a classic. It's vintage.
It's a little different than what I'm used to driving.
Yeah.
You have to really, really press the brakes. The steering wheel feels loose to me. But it drives pretty easy.
I was gonna say, what are your favorite things about it?
Well,
other than you not having your own sunglasses.
I like how it looks.
Yeah.
I like that it's something I can drive.
Yeah.
And that it has air conditioning because it is hot.
Oh, it's so hot in Georgia. For sure.
I think it's, once you figure it out, it's pretty easy to drive.
Yeah. It's definitely different. I mean, it's a lifted, smaller SUV, so it's definitely different.
I like that Millie gets to sit in the front next to us.
At least for the moment, anyway. Now that we've heard Mama's favorite parts, Millie, why don't you tell us what your favorite part is? You like being able to sit up front? Yeah.
I think that one of Millie's favorite parts might be.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell them about that?
What is that? Yeah, why don't you give it a little honky? Just a small honk. Press it. Press it.
You have to.
There you go. Isn't that awesome? In fact, I would say that the way the dash and the cluster looks is one of my favorite things. Obviously, somebody had replaced the radio, the face is down here on the floor, and I didn't like it, so I took it off. But I love that the glove box is right here in the center. That's kind of a cool thing. Obviously, this is your air conditioning, so you've got under dash AC. But I love the way the steering wheel feels. I love how the seats look and how comfortable they are.
It's really comfortable.
Yeah, and that huge rear window. I think that is really cool. Yeah. So,
I like the window back there. It certainly made backing up without a backup cam
oh, first world problems right here.
much easier with that giant mirror.
Well,
I mean, that giant window.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts too. So I also feel like you can just get in this thing and go wherever you want to go. If there's a little dirt patch or a curb or something you need to run over, you can do that, no problem. It feels, it feels off-roadish.
It does.
And it is. It's got a lift. It's four-wheel drive. It's,
It feels heavy, like sturdy.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm stopping it.
Yeah. I will say, and most of you know, if this is somebody who has any experience with Wagoneers, one of the first things that I read and figured out was that the brakes were subpar, even from the factory. So I think that's something we're going to address. We're probably going to put some hydro boost or something like that on it to give it better brakes, because we are going to try to pull a small camper with this at times, and we just really want this thing to be road ready. So that's why we're considering the LS swap, considering hydro boost, and just getting the other creature comfort sort of dialed in to where we can really experience and adventure the way we want to in this thing. And because the paint is not original, or the paint is not some super shiny paint job, or super quality paint job, I should say, I think that we're not going to be worried as much about what the paint looks like on the outside. Obviously, we'll keep it clean. We'll try not to scratch it, stuff like that. But we're not going to have to be so worried about scratching it or going down a trail or something like that in it. So overall, I'm really impressed with this thing. We have wanted one for a very long time. I haven't been in one since the late 80s, I guess.
I've never been in one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Visors are nice. I think I'll show you those real quick. So here's the visor set up. These things are huge. And the windshield is extraordinarily dirty. It's very sunny. And now Millie's got her shades on. But
Kitty cat whiskers.
kitty cat whiskers, that's right. But, oh, there's a deer. Oh, and a Bambi.
I see it.
Yeah, you got back up, babe. Looks like on our little ride, we're gonna see some deer. So
Oh,
there,
we scared the Bambi. There she
so the
goes.
fawn ran off in the woods there, and there's the mama.
Just holding strong, Mel.
Holding strong. All right,
That's cool.
Oh,
That is
hold on, I
cool.
gotta put it back in drive.
put it back in drive, baby.
It does feel kind of like the
But-
little engine that could going up.
I know,
up a hill.
these, I would say that the number one issue outside of the brakes is how anemic the 360 AMC motor is. It is gutless, mostly. I'm hearing that the four-wheel drive system, the quality of it, definitely makes up for the lack in power. The anemic motor and the brakes are definitely the subpar items, but overall, we are really loving this thing.
Yeah.
It's just the first day that we've had it. We wanted to give you our quick initial impressions of the Wagoneer, and we hope that you enjoyed this video. And I think Millie's got one more thing she wants to say.
I want to drive by the farm.
You want to drive by the farm? What do we do at the farm?
We look at animals.
Yeah. Well, let's look right here and see if we can see this Bambi. This fawn and this mother. There they are. Just keep going, babe.
Look how cute she is.
So
with her
cute.
spots.
Yeah, that was might have been a late bloomer. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next time right here on United by Truck.
We love it!
Cue the music.